Well, the weekend has come to an end, so for today I decided to do something different. As you all know, recently for the past couple of months, I've been mentioning that I've been trying to catch up with many of the Yoshi wrestling events dating back all the way from May all the way to now. However, some events from May to June, July, and possibly September is done, but I'm not sure. So today we're going to be, of course, focusing from 4 events by Oz Academy. So if you guys are a big fan of Oz Academies, you guys are in the right channel. So basically, the first show dates back all the way to August 17th, and then of course we got another one in Nagoya on the 24th of August, and then of course the 7th of September, and then finally, of course, one of their big shows in Yokohama, the Budokan. It's on the 19th of October. So it's going to be epic. Not to mention some events features, of course, Stardom's very own heel faction Hate invading Oz Academy. And I'll explain why. And I think I might have mentioned this on some news updates in the past couple of months about that. So stay tuned for that. And then, as always, we'll wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere where wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. It's time to get cracking. So, as I mentioned, it's all about Oz Academy, so we're going to be doing 4 reviews. So let's begin with the very first one. Alright, first show coming from Oz Academy we're going to be reviewing. This one is called the Plum no Hanasaku Oz no Kuni, which happened, of course, on the 17th of August in Korakuen Hall. Now, the main event is for the top championship, the openweight title. Well, this one features, of course, a very unique one that has former members of Oz Academy. But now we'll get there in a bit. Now, let's start with the first match. The first match is a 6-women tag team match. Team number 1, we have Rina Yamashita, Ram Kaicho, and Kaori Yoneyama. They take on Unagi Sayaka, Momoka Anazono, and of course, veteran Jaguar Yokota. Now, nothing too special about this match at all, but what's even funnier, those who know Momoka Anazono, those who know, I often say she's a terror in the ring. Not in a bad way, but more of a way where she's like, sometimes her shenanigans can get her in trouble, or sometimes it's just too hilarious to enjoy. Well, apparently she messed up when she pissed off, of course, the wrong person, and that is Jaguar Yokota, when she did one of those pop-up streamers come up out of nowhere, and she apologized. But unfortunately, because of that, it kind of almost could have cost her the match. But thank God that Jaguar Yokota was able to pick up the win when she pinned Ram Kaicho with the schoolboy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But I don't think Jaguar Yokota is happy with her whatsoever. But she'll get over it. Now, our next match, we have singles action. We have Azuki coming all the way from Stardom taking on Akino. Now, of course, it's not the first time that Azuki makes her appearance in Oz Academy. If you guys hadn't forgotten, her and her tag team partner, her frenemy, of course, Koguma, were the tag champions of Oz Academy, but they're no longer. But nothing too special about this match, but this was a brutal match you couldn't amend. I mean, Azuki hits hard, she fights hard, the same thing as Akino. But in the end, of course, it was Akino who picked up the win. And I'm not sure exactly what kind of move she applied, but to me it looked more like a sidewalk slam. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. And then, of course, there was a post-match promo between Akino and Azuki. I have no idea what they talk about, but I'm sure Akino is hoping that maybe they will run into the same circles again. But only time will tell. Now, our next match, we have another 6-woman tag team match. We have Izuki Aoki, Ryo Mizunami, and Sonoko Kato. They take on Haruka Umesaki, Nagisa Nozaki, and Kyoko Inoue. So, of course, many of you know Nagisa. She originally from Wave, making appearances in Marigold, not to mention she's a freelancer. And, of course, Kyoki Inoue, the founder of Diana. So nothing too special about this whatsoever. But this match ended with Nagisa Nozaki applying a Lance Nor high kick onto onto Sonoga Kato, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, as soon as the match was over, when the winning team left, many of you may know this. I mentioned not too long ago that Sonoko Kato is announced her retirement. So, of course, she had to do a post-match promo. I think she's trying to get more people to keep following her until the very end of her last match as a pro wrestler. So, we'll see how things will go from there. Now, our next match is for the Oz Academy Tag Team titles. We have the challengers Zone and Hiroyo Matsumoto taking on Phantom Limit, consisting of Kohaku and Tsubasa Kurigaki. Now, for those who may not know this, Zones and Hiroyo Matsumoto have been very good friends and tag team partners since they first met. I remember that how Zones was training with Matsumoto since they first met. But this made them a perfect opportunity to pick up championships in, of course, in Oz Academy. And you probably would think in some capacity that Kohaku and, of course, Kurigaki would have retained the belts. But nope, it was Zones that picked up the win when she pinned Kurigaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. They became, of course, the Oz Academy Tag Team Champions. However, of course, when it comes to matches like these, we know there'll be challengers coming along the way, and one of them is, of course, Ryu Mizunami, and of course, Izuki Aoki. So they put themselves as the next challengers, and that match will happen later on in our fourth review we'll be doing later. So stay tuned for that. Now, our main event, this one is a very unique one, and this one is for the Oz Academy Openweight Championship. And we have a 3-way match on this one. We have Mayu Ozaki, Kakeru, and Sayuri Anu. Now, for those who don't know, what I meant earlier that this was a very interesting match was because, as you may or may not know about this, all 3 of these ladies used to be part of a faction known as Ozaki Gun. So basically, Mayumi was the leader, and everybody else was part of the group. However, of course, at certain times, there have been some, estrangements towards the leadership, knowing that Mayumi Ozaki was losing it, not satisfied with certain results, and it led to, of course, people leaving, and not to mention Sairyu Anu. For those who don't know, there was a bit of a controversy many years ago regarding Mayumi Ozaki and how she retained the title from Sayuri Anu, and then of course Sayuri Anu finally become the Oz Academy openweight champion. Now, of course, what you may not know, much like these ladies, they have like the same kind of similar tactics of hate, and they use, of course, their old tricks. Try to beat their opponents up, even if it's outside the ring, which is something common that we've seen with hate. But I can like to say that Oz Academy does it with more violence. Now, you probably would have assumed that there would have been a winner in this match. However, the match ended in a no contest when Hate, of course, invaded Oz Academy, and they hijacked the championship because, of course, Natsuko Tora is trying to tell Mayumi Ozaki in some capacity, like saying, hey, old hag, do yourself a favor. Just retire. You're done. We're the real heels here. You're done. But, of course, Mayumi Ozaki, she's stubborn as hell. She doesn't give a damn what Natsuko Tora tells her because, of course, here's the thing. Rina can call her a shitty old hag, but I can say this shitty old hag, well, she knows how to fight better than even any young people. And that's exactly what she did. But this led to the possibility, of course, of an actual reunion from Ozaki-gun. So we'll see how things will go. So we're done with this review with Oz Academy. We'll continue with more, so let's get to it right now. Alright, we continue with more with Oz Academy, and this show we're going to be reviewing is called Battle Big Bonus 2025 in Nagoya. Now, originally this show happened on the 24th of August, but it wasn't broadcast until the 6th of September. And this was at the Toyoda uh, Memorial Gymnasium in Inazuwa. I think that's what I was. But that's what exactly said. I put it in my notes just to remember. So yes. Now we did see, of course, Sonoka Kato come out to do a little promo. As I mentioned earlier, she announced her retirement, so she's trying to get more people to pay attention and come support her in her final matches she'll be doing. I don't remember when will it happen, but I will let you guys know when that day comes. Now, our first match, we have a singles action. We have Mask Hana versus Momoka Anazono. Now, of course, for those who know, I mentioned, of course, Momoka Anazono. She's a terror in the ring. Now, we know that sometimes her usual tricks, it's always been very handy for her, but you can say that it may not have been handy enough for Mask Hana because it ended with her pinning Momoka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, we have a 6-woman tag team match. We have Tai Hamna. This is before she retired, about maybe 2 months later. She teams up with veterans Mayumi Ozaki and Jaguar Yokota. They take on Kohaku, Sairi Anu, and Akino. So basically, as you probably know, no secrets that Tai Hamna knows Sairi Anu from their At-Risk Girls days, and that's exactly what happened. But, however, it was Akino that picked up the win when she applied, like I said, I wasn't too sure, when a somewhat of a sidewalk slam, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match we have is for the Oz Academy Pioneer Championship. Ram Kaicho versus Tsubasa Kuragaki versus Kakeru. Now, for those who know Kakeru, she likes to use that little sign that says, when you see the wet floor, she used that all the time as a weapon. And that's what she's been using throughout the entirety of the match. And of course, I would have assumed that Ram Kaicho would have used the ectoplasma at some point. But unfortunately, it did not do any well for her because Ram Kaicho was the one who ended up losing the match when Kakeru applied, of course, the schoolboy onto her. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Kakeru retained the championship. Excuse me. Our next match we have is the Oz Academy Tag Team belts. Now, as I mentioned before, Zones and Hiroyu Matsumoto are the new champions, and of course, the next challengers just made their appearance, and that is, of course, um, Izuki Aoki and Ryo Mizunami. Of course, you probably would have assumed that there was no way in some possibility Zones and Matsumoto would have lost their titles after this one, after winning them. No, it never did, but it was a strong match. I mean, there was moments of big powerhouse sizes between both Matsumoto and Mizunami, and that's exactly what we expected. But in the end, it was Matsumoto with in somewhat of an Uranagi onto Mizunami, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they retained the championships. Now, our main event is a very interesting match. Is a light tube death match. We have Sonoka Kato. She teams up with Kazumi Kikuta. They take on Rina Yamashita and Jun Sakai, which is very unique. For those who don't know, Jun Sakai and Rina Yamashita, they both actually teamed up before, and of course, they appeared in the promotion known as Freedoms. So you can say this is their wheelhouse. So you can tell this match was bloody, very violent, of course, light tube being used, whatever is possible. But however, it was Rina Yamashita that picked up the win when she applied, of course, a splash mountain on top of some tubes onto Sonoka Kato, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So basically, of course, Rina Yamashita and Jun Kasai picked up the win, and of course, we did see a post-match promo, so you can guess how that goes. So we're done with this one with Oz Academy. Let's move on with more with Oz Academy on their next show. Okay, we continue with more with Oz Academy. This next show is called Flowers of the Cemetery, and it happened on September 7th in Shinjuku Face. Now, we did see, of course, a surprise appearance from Stardom president Taru Okada. Now, some of you may question, what the hell is he doing there? Well, as you know, there's been some frictions between both Okada and Hate. Let's just say that Hate doesn't like the kind of booking that Okada has. However, Okada was there to apologize to the Oz Academy fan base, especially Mayumi Ozaki, for what Hate has done. However, of course, Okada said that, he's concerned for Mayumi Ozaki, knowing that she had no friends whatsoever, because at the time we haven't seen what the results were if what used to be Ozaki-gun will reunite. But of course, like I mentioned, Mayumi Ozaki is a stubborn wrestler. Even for someone in her mid-50s, she doesn't give a shit what people think of her. She doesn't care what people would think. She likes her odds, but Taru Okada is worried for her, knowing that Hate will do whatever it takes to accumulate her one way or the other. But we'll get to that some bit. Now, our first match, we have 6-woman tag team match. Ram Kaicho, Izuki Aoki, and Ryo Mizunami. They take on Coyote Yonayama, Hiroyo Matsumoto, and Jaguar Yokota. Now, nothing too special about this match, but what's interesting, as you know, Ram Kaicho doesn't fit in the same kind of atmospheres with Aoki and Mizunami, because they have their own thing going. But you would have assumed that her usual tricks will play out, but no. But it was Mizunami herself who picked up the win when she applied a driver onto Coyote Yonayama, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we have tag team action. We have Rina Yamashita and Zones taking on Unagi Sayaka and Sayuri Anu. So as you all know, yes, Unagi and Sayuri Anu became good friends, and not to mention they're part of the same faction known as Phantom Limit. And you would have assumed that some capacity that Rina Yamashita and Zones would have picked up. However, for those who may not know, Zones is one half of the tag team champions. So if they would have pinned her, that would have put any of them, for Sayuri Anu and Unagi, a ticket to, of course, a chance of the championship. And it was Unagi who picked up the win onto Zones, and just like that, it was over. But we did see, of course, a post-match promo. It seems like she wanted a shot of the tag belts, but however, of course, Rina Yamashita was not going to let that happen. So basically, it's like she's telling her, if you want to get those titles, you have to get through me. Now, our next match, we have Mitsa Kagura. Many of you may know her as the clone to Tam Nakano. She faces against Kakeru. Now, of course, when it comes to Kakeru, you know she's gonna play by her own rules, use the floor wet, of course, sign as always, and that's exactly what she was doing. But however, Kakeru was not alone in this matter. She had, of course, Mayuhiki. Many of you know who not know this or not. She was out on injury, and now she's by her side as her second. And because of that, it allowed for a distraction, and Kakeru applied an inside cradle onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Kakeru picked up the win. However, during the post-match promo, we did see Akino making her appearance, talking to Misa Kagura. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but from what I saw and witnessed, it seems that Akino wants to team up with Misa Kagura, and here's the best part. She issued the challenge for the tag team belts, and that is something. And I'm sure Zones is not happy with the fact that now that she and of course Matsumoto have to defend them. Well, it is what it is, and that's how things ended up right there. Now, our next match, we have a three-way. We have Mayumi Ozaki, Tsubasa Kuragaki, and Akino. Now, of course, we all know how things will go when it comes to three-ways. They get a little crazy, a little bit hectic because, there's certain things. Don't forget Mayumi Ozaki. She's very violent. She likes to use weapons in her advantage to pick up the win. But unfortunately, that didn't do any well for her because she ended up being pinned by Akino. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, out of nowhere, we did see, of course, Akino had a little talk with Mayumi Ozaki. Now, for those who don't know, Akino has her disdain pleasure towards, of course, towards hate for what they have caused. But as you all know, Akino is a part of the Phantom Limit, and she looks to Sayuri Anu, telling her, "Look, this is something you guys have to get to talk about," because, of course, she understands that Sayuri Anu has some disdain towards Ozaki for what she did. And of course, she has to tell her, look, you and Ozaki-kun, you have to deal with hate. This is your battles now because you guys were the top heels in Oz Academy. So that's what it sounded like to me. And of course, we did see Kageru and Mayuhiki trying to talk to her about this whole thing. However, of course, hate showed up like they want this to happen. And of course, they want the Oz Academy to play by their rules. Well, Mayumi Ozaki didn't let that happen later on. So I'll get to that in a bit. Now, our main event, we have featured a very unique tag team match. Many of you may not know this. Hikaru Shido made her appearance in Oz Academy, and she teamed up with her former tag team partner, and that partner is, of course, the current IWGP Women's Champion, Shuri. They take on the legend Aja Kong and Sonoka Kato. Now, for those who may not know this, of course, Hikaru Shida and Shuri were tag team partners long before we know them as they are. Hikaru Shida being one of the best AEW Women's World Champion, of course, and Shuri becoming a star in Stardom. So you can tell how that plays out. But I have to say it's great for me to see them for the first time because I heard a lot of things about them together. But in the end, it was, of course, a Busaiko knee by Hikaru Shida onto Kato, and just like that, it was over. Like 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, there was a post-match promo, and everybody had some things to say towards Sonoka Kato because, as I mentioned recently, of course, that she'll be retiring very soon. So they wanted to pour their hearts out towards her, and I thought it was a great touching moment. So I don't know when her last match will be, but I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. But as of right now, we got one more Oz Academy to review, of course, so let's get to it. Alright, final Oz Academy to review for all of you, and this one's called Judgement Waltz, and it happened on the 19th of October in Yokohama Budokan. And of course, this show is one of their bigger shows they do every year, And it opened up with the roll call with many of the wrestlers who are either the ones who are full time there, or just the regulars who just appear, that sort of thing, and all of that. So I don't need to explain that much. Now, our first match, we have a 6-woman tag team match. We have Kohaku teaming up with Emi Sakura and Tsubasa Kurigaki. They take on Momoka Hanazono, Mei Shiruga, and Jaguar Yokota. Now, of course, for those who don't know, Mei Shiruga and Momoka Hanazono, they are a tag team together known as Momo Ringo. It's been a while since I think they teamed up, but of course, the one thing I mentioned, Jaguar Yokota, last time got little pop-up little streamers off from Hanazono. I hope she learned her lesson, of course. And of course, we did see her shenanigans, as always. I mean, that's always been her little trademark. But, however, it was Jaguar Yokota that surprised everybody when she applied a crucifix on Kurigaki. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match is a very interesting match, a three-way. We have Ram Kaicho versus Kaori Yonoyama versus Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, or as many of you know him back in the day as NXT Ikemenjiro. Well, he played his little shenanigans, but that wasn't the real problem that happened. As you know, he uses a jacket as a weapon. Well, people don't know exactly, but Ram Kaicho pinned him in 30 seconds flat, out of nowhere, and she applied a crucifix onto Kuroshio, and just like that, it was over. However, during the post-match, Kaori Yonoyama was not happy with it, so she was demanding for a restart, and I was like, okay, and the same old thing repeated itself again. Ikemenjiro applying, of course, the jacket to wipe out everybody, and then, of course, Ram Kaicho, for those who I mentioned, she flipped them off. And this is the second time she did that. And then once again, she pinned him with the crucifix, just like that. And then, of course, Kaori Yonoyama was not satisfied. Second restart. And, of course, the same result again, Ram Kaicho. So, I'm sure Kaori Yonoyama wanted to win, but, I mean, what did you expect? So, that's what happened. But except in the final restart, Ram Kaicho did not use the crucifix. She used the schoolboy onto Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, and just like that, over. Now, our next match, we have Unagi Sayaka versus Rina Yamashita. I have to say it was a very tough battle for Unagi. I mean, we all know Rina Yamashita is a tough girl. She takes no crap from nobody at all. But however, Rina Yamashita walked away with the win when she applied Splash Mountain on her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. It was done. Now, we have an interesting 6-person tag match. We got 3 ladies coming from Sendai Girls. Mika Iwata, Dash Shizako, and of course, Big Hash herself, Shihiro Hashimoto. They take on Izuki Aoki, Ryo Mizunami, and Sonoka Kato. Now, of course, I have to say Sendai Girls do have some amazing talent, as always. Mika Iwata is a fantastic striker. She doesn't take any crap whatsoever. Dash Shizako, known as the Hardcore Queen, basically she uses her violent ways to win. And of course, Big Hash, the strongest. And of course, we did see a bit of a powerhouse coming up in some moments. But unfortunately, it was Sonoka Kata who ended up on the wrong side of a powerbomb by Hashimoto. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match is for the Oz Academy Tag Team titles. Misa Kagura and Akino, they take on the current champions Zones and Hiroyo Matsumoto. And I have to say, Misa Kagura really, really impressed me in this match completely. Like, she was determined to win championships in Oz Academy, and that's exactly what she did. But she was no match for the powerhouse of Matsumoto whatsoever, or as we know her, Lady Destroyer. And that's exactly what she did. When, of course, she applied the Uranagi on Misa, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she retained the championship. Now, as I always say before, every time we see the winners retain the title or new champions, we always expect an unexpected, unwelcome. Well, Mika Iwata made her appearance and declaring herself and a tag partner the challenge for the belts. Now, I'm not sure who's going to be teaming up with her. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be Miyuki Takase. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but we'll see. She hasn't mentioned it, so just let you guys know. Now, our main event is the 8-woman tag team elimination match. We have Hate versus Ozaki-gun. Representing Hate, we have Rina, Raka, Sayaka Mitani, and Natsuko Tora representing, and of course, Konami and Momo Watanabe are in tow. We all know why they're there. They're gonna cheat. That's exactly what they're. But however, in Oz Academy, for Ozaki-gun, we have Kakeru, Saori Anu, Yumi Oka. Many of you may know her. She is the founder of Pro Wrestling Wave, and of course, we have Mayumi Ozaki, the big boss herself. And of course, Mayuki was in toast as well. We all know from both sides they're going to play dirty. That's exactly, because this is the battle of like, who is the better villains. That's exactly. I mean, you look at Natsuko Tora, who's telling Mayumi Ozaki, "Hey, old hag, just retire. You're done. We're taking over." But like I said, Mayumi Ozaki is a stubborn woman who's not going to back down. Now, of course, we were going to see Momo and, of course, Konami help try to cheat, and the same thing we saw with Mayumi Ozaki. But this is exactly what happened during the elimination in order. I mean, it's going to be going back and forth for all of this, but let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. Saori Anu eliminates Raka, and then of course Yumi Oka eliminates Rina, and then after that Kamitani eliminates Yumi Oka, and of course, for those who don't know, Kamitani did face her when she was the Regina the Wave champion at the time, and then of course Natsuko Tora eliminates Kakeru, and then of course Saori Anu and Kamitani eliminate themselves. And then this is where the fun begins. Mayumi Ozaki and Natsuko Tora, as you know, the two leaders of the respective heel factions, fight it off. And of course, it was going to be bloody violent, but in the end, Mayumi Ozaki picked up the win and eliminates Natsuko Tora. And just like that, they've proven they are the best champion. However, of course, they demanded the return of the Openweight Championship. Well, let's just say that they gave them the championship, but not the one they wanted. Let's just say once again, Hate are determined to take over Oz Academy and prove that they are the real heels in all of Japan. So we'll see what happens down the road. And it was a fun match. If you guys haven't seen it though, then go check it out. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our reviews and everything. So let's move on with our last and final things, news updates. Alright, welcome to our news updates. Just to let you guys know, we are going to be focusing on developments. Now, the first one we're going to be talking right about, it's about the WWE ID Women's Championship. It's now once again vacant. So, the last champion was, of course, Nor Phoenix Diana. I still don't know what exactly happened, but I'll look into it. However, it was announced that they're going to do a 6-way match to determine a brand new champion, and they already picked 5 out of the 6 girls. And some of you may be surprised. Now, this event will happen later on this month on the 17th of November with Wrestling Open, which is a promotion based out of I think in Boston area. I'm not 100% sure about that, but yes. But here are the names that were announced that will be participating. We have Brittany Brooks. Many of you know her. She is she appeared in Future Stars of Wrestling, and she is the real life girlfriend of Chris Bay. So she was the #1 mention. And then of course we have Notorious Mimi also mentioned. Tiara James, Arika Denny, and of course Shannon Vinch, I think that's her name. Yeah, but the 6th person, that is still unclear. So these ladies are going to participate to become the first ever champion. However, well, not the first ever, I mean the first of the next champion. However, whoever wins will get a contract with WWID, and we'll see about that. Now, many of you may have heard of what happened recently for the tapings of AEW Collision. It was announced that Miranda Alize and Nixon Newell, who many of you know Nixon as Tegan Knox back in WWE, they walked out on AEW due to the fact that they were told that they were going to be in a 3-minute match against Ty J in a match to put them over. But however, they wanted it to take the match a little longer. Now, some people I saw in comments, and I agree with what they were talking about. These ladies have no demands whatsoever, but they're just the people who are paid to do a job, and then that's it. You know, they're not part of the roster yet, and they act like they're part of it, but no, they just walked out, and this was like prior before the match that, of course, Ty J had against Hyan and Maya World. So basically, that's how the whole thing happened. I know there's more information coming out about that, and I'll get back to that on you guys as soon as possible. Now, Tetsuya Naito, many of you know this, that he is no longer part of New Japan. Well, as you all know, Naito was a bit miffed that he was not asked to be, of course, Hiroshi Tanahashi's final opponent for his retirement. So he's like going, what the hell, you know? I guess Naito wished he had his final hoorah with New Japan, but also be the one to retire Naito. Now, I'm sure many people were saying, why did New Japan offer it? Well, if you guys know the history, a lot of the New Japan fan base were not happy with Naito when he defeated Tanahashi. It was more like an insult to them, and of course, that led to, of course, to that. People were not happy with Naito defeating Tanahashi, and I'm sure that New Japan don't want to repeat history again, and I get that, you know. So yeah, it is what it is. Okada is the final opponent. So that's pretty much it what we have for you guys. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do for the next episode, so I'm going to try to wing it. But I hope you guys enjoy me reviewing with Oz Academy. I catched up already. I know there's a show that just recently came out on November 9th, but I don't know when I'll be able to watch it. If I do, I'll try to review it as soon as possible. So I'm going to try to catch up with the other ones, like Sendai Girls, Evolution, Tokyo Pro Wrestling, Marvelous, Mighty Gold, that sort of thing. So hopefully I get that done before the end of the year or so. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this entire episode. Like I said, if you guys are big fans of Oz Academy, you guys are on the right channel. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.